good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg. I'm joined by three of my partners in crime this evening. We got Ed in the building. What's going on, Ed?
What's good, everybody? Good to see everybody. Professor J, thank you for blessing us today. Sense, good to see you as always. Mr. Brooks, and there you go, Big Reg. Let's do this.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Sense is in the building. What's going on, partner? How you feeling today?
Feeling good, feeling great. What's going on, fellas? Good to see all of y'all in the place to be. Ready to talk some sports with y'all. Let's go.
And last but definitely not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have the birthday boy in the house today. What's going on, Professor? Happy birthday, my brother.
Thank you, Big Reg. Thank you, Big Ed. Thank you, Sense. So glad to be here with you guys. Y'all know we gonna do it, even though it's my birthday. I'm gonna show out today. So let's praise the Lord. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, we're gonna do some quick hits. We got to go combat sports, man. Boxing, UFC, man. We had some good things going on this past weekend, and we got to get into that boxing. And then, I don't know about y'all, but that was the best weekend of NFL football I think I've ever seen. The divisional rounds were bananas. So we're going to break that down and talk about the conference championships. And, of course, our final post of the evening. So, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Quick hits. Fellas, we got to say congrats to Kansas State center Aoki Lee. And again, I said center. She set the NCAA Division I women's scoring record, scoring 61 points to help get an upset win over number 14 Oklahoma, 94-65. So she scored 61 of their 94 points and just beasted. She went 23 of 30 field goals and hit 15 from 17 from the foul line. I mean,
balling.
When you usually hear about these records, you hear about a guard or a small forward or somebody shooting a bunch of threes and all that. She did all her work in the paint.
Mostly.
Man.
Crazy. To add on to
that should be a lesson to these dudes these dudes and ladies that want to shoot three after three after three. You don't have to shoot threes.
Yeah.
If you can't shoot, leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Go with what you know.
Do it.
And if you can be dominant in the paint, most players don't play good post defense anymore, so you can get it on. So, also in the ladies, congrats to Iowa's Caitlyn Clark. She also made history, becoming the first NCAA basketball player, male or female, to have back-to-back 30-point triple doubles.
Man,
she currently leads the Division I ladies in scoring, averaging 26.2 points a game, and is very close to averaging a triple-double for the season. So these ladies are balling in the NCAA this year.
Yes, they are, man. Beautiful thing to watch.
Something that hurts a little bit, but got to give them props. We got to give congrats to Auburn University. Their men's basketball team, for the first time ever, is ranked number 1 in the AP polls this week. So the home of Charles Barkley finally has a team. They've only lost one game this year, and they've been balling out their minds. So,
round amount of rebound.
That's right.
Yeah. Once this football season is over and I can dig into this college basketball, it's going to be interesting. Speaking of college basketball, I don't know if you guys heard, Dick Vitale announced that he will be off the sideline for the rest of the year at ESPN. He had an early bout of cancer, which kept him off the sideline at the beginning of the season. He came back for like 2 weeks, and then his doctors told him he needed to rest his vocal cords and things. So whatever's going on is in his throat. And last but not least, the Australian Open is in its second week, and one of the old guard, Rafael Nadal, reached the semifinals with his chance to break the tie with Federer and Djokovic to become the first male player with 21 Grand Slam champions. He's just 2 wins away. And for the Americans, Madison Keys reached her 4th Grand Slam semifinal yesterday and is looking for her first Grand Slam title. So those are the quick hits I got for you, just to keep you up to date on some things that we don't really get deep into. Let's talk about some combat sports. I want to start with boxing, and we got to talk about District Heights Zone. We all live in the DMV area, PG County primarily, and Gary Russell Jr. is PG County native, PG County pride. He lost his WBC featherweight title this Saturday against Mark Magsayo, who's of the Philippines and is a Manny Pacquiao disciple, and that's his idol, and who's helping him with his career, even his boxing out of the same wild card gym as Manny Pacquiao with the same trainers. Russell lost by majority decision, but the reason why he lost, and he never should have fought this fight, right shoulder. He says he thinks he tore a tendon in his right shoulder. Halfway through the 4th round, he tried to throw a punch, and the guy was ducking, so he tried to change the angle, and you can see him grimace. He almost went down, and he never threw another right for the rest of the fight. So literally, he fought from the middle of the 4th round through 12 rounds, fighting this guy with a left hand only.
Wow.
So then my question was for you, Big Reg, is then why would he say that? Why would he say in the post fight that it was politics that took his belts and not the injury?
Because he thought he still beat the guy. I watched that fight the day after because I wanted to make sure DVR, and plus I was watching the UFC, so I really wanted to watch it. He landed the more effective shots. He landed the more damaging shots. But the fact that he could only throw one hand and had to get at certain angles, he didn't throw as many shots.
Yeah.
One judge had it as a tie, and the other 2 judges basically had him lose the fight by 1 round. So even with one arm, he was in that fight.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But he never should have taken a fight. I'm sorry, Sid. I think the reason why he didn't postpone the fight, his father's been sick. His father's dealing with a bad diabetes issue. They had to amputate one of his feet. He's still having problems. His father was at the fight, but the doctors told him he shouldn't go. So I think he wanted to make sure that his father was able to be in his corner with him at least one more time, because he didn't know what the future had for his dad. And in the last 2 years, he lost his younger brother too.
Yeah.
So sad. It's sad, but maybe this will help make him get the surgery to repair the injury. He said he's been dealing with the injury for years, but it's never gotten as bad. He injured it 2 weeks before the fight, and he went on this. He's a warrior stuff and all that, and so I want to go back out.
That never
works out.
It never works.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that it seems like that is always a theme for these boxers, like getting like that shoulder injury, and like if I wish there was a way to like prevent that, maybe better training, to kind of, make that shoulder stronger, I don't know, but it just always seems like, that's the case with these boxers, especially when they lose. They always, want to say, oh, yeah, I injured my shoulder, training for the fight, a la Pacquiao when he fought Mayweather, said he tore his rotator cuff. So I just find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, but unlike Pacquiao, who was still throwing his right hand in the fight against Mayweather, you literally saw Gary Russell literally not throw another right hand. He would paw with it to kind of get some range, but he never threw another punch with that right hand. And how you supposed to fight an undefeated world-class fighter with one arm?
It's
Literally.
amazing that he did it.
It's impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. So he says he's going to get healthy and he wants a rematch and he wants his title back. So, and he was the longest reigning champion in boxing before this defeat. He had his title for 6 years.
Wow. Well, best wishes to you, homeboy. Hope you get back right and get back into the ring and reclaim it.
Yeah. His two brothers are supposed to have upcoming fights soon. Gary Antoine and Gary Antonio. And they are two young prospects that look real good. So it's a family thing. So
The name and the fight name.
I was about to say that's like the Foreman's.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about UFC 270. UFC 270 was very, very interesting. The headline fight was, of course, the heavyweight championship of the world. The interim champ, Cyril Gagné of France, was taking on Francis Ngannou, the actual champion who missed about a year after he won the title. Some say it was partially injury. Some say it was because he was celebrating, whatever. So we're gathered. They were finally going to unite and figure out who the actual heavyweight champion is. And the backstory to it was both of these guys at one point were sparring partners with each other in the same gym in France that both get them their starts in MMA. And now Ngannou's moved to Las Vegas. Gagné's still in France, so there's some bad blood between the two camps. And you see these two big guys. Gagné weighed in at 6'4", 245, and Ngannou weighed in at 6'6", 256. You figure somebody going to sleep.
Man.
And Gagné, for the first 2 rounds, was putting it to Ngannou. He was moving around, hitting him, tapping him, kicking him, using his kickboxing background, because Gagné was a former multi-time kickboxing champion before he turned to MMA. And he was dominating the fight for 2 rounds. And Ngannou went into the corner at the end of the second round, and they told him, look, you need to get close to this guy and get him. And out of the blue, Francis Ngannou has learned how to grapple. He actually was able to, starting in the 3rd round, grab Gagné, pick him up, body slam him, and get top position, and literally grappled him for the last 3 rounds and beat him on the mat. Something he had never done before. So it was crazy. So
I'm gonna be honest. I was watching the fight. I was like in and out of sleep, and from what I saw out of it, it was a lot of kind of like little trying to throw jabs in there until, like you said, Ngannou finally had him on the mat, and pinned him down. So
right.
I was like, okay, because I didn't know who was going to be the victor out of that one, because it just didn't seem like they were landing for the most part.
Yeah, there were no big shots landed, especially on the feet. But it was just strange that a fight that everybody was saying either Ngannou was going to knock Gagné out clean, like he's been knocking everybody else out up to this fight, because he had 16 wins in the UFC, all 16 by knockouts. Or Gagné was going to dance and use his quote unquote superior technique and his kickboxing skills to dominate the fight from the feet. But Francis showed him something new, and they was not expecting it, because you could see when Gagné got took down the first time, he was on his back. He's like, what am I doing here?
Exactly.
In the co-main event, Davison Figueroa regained his flyweight title, beating Brandon Moreno. Unanimous decision. It was 48-47 on all 3 cards. This was a good bout. Moreno landed more strikes but Figueroa landed the heavier blows. He also had one more takedown, and I think that's what gave him the decision. But fellas, these guys have fought 3 times already. The first was a draw. The second one, Moreno took Figueroa's belt. The trilogy, Figueroa gets his belt back from Moreno. So I think we need to have a fourth to finally break this tie. What's your opinion?
Right. Yeah, it's only right. You got to. You can't declare a true victor from it until that happens. So I'm all for it. Yeah.
And I mean, Moreno was the first Mexican UFC title holder, so I'm sure that Dana White is going to try his best, to get that worked out again, because Brazil's had many title holders, and that's what Figueroa is, but he's really trying to tap into that Mexican market. But what I really want to talk about in UFC, and it pains me because Professor and I have been giving Dana White a whole lot of props in the way he handled things through the beginning of COVID and throughout COVID, and how he makes sure that the best fighters fight the best fighters most of the time, and just moving UFC to where it was a fringe sport to now it competes with boxing very well, and it's one of the top money generating sports in all of the world. What he did Saturday after the Francis Ngannou fight was disrespectful. If you watch any UFC title fight, if Dana's in the house, Dana puts the strap on the champion. The only time that hasn't happened is when the women's title fight just happened, and he happened to have Holly Berry, who's a big UFC fan, and he let Holly put the belt around the ladies champion, but he was standing right beside her. He did not even go into the ring after Ngannou won. And then he left the arena and didn't go to the post-fight press conference. All because Ngannou has said he's not fighting under his current contract anymore unless they sweeten the deal, because he's been the champion and he needs to get more money. So what's your thoughts on that and how Dana White handled the situation?
When I first heard of this, like I just wanted to know the backstory of it, but now that you explained it, so it was just contract only that's causing this beef between Dana and Francis, or is it something more deep than that?
From what I understand, it's not only his current contract, but also Francis, even after the fight, has stated when he went to that gym in France, he went to that gym to actually box, and they talked him into doing MMA. So he said before he gets too old, he wants to try professional boxing.
Okay.
And guess who?
Go ahead.
And he's been talking to the new king of celebrity boxing.
Oh, Mr. Paul.
Who Dana White hates with a passion, because his advisor and executive vice president and co-founder of his promotional company, Paul's company, is a former UFC top guy.
Oh.
So the thing is that the way I see it is, I think Dana has to be a better businessman, because as much as we've praised Dana as far as the things that, giving us the fights we want, not making us wait forever, having the fighters actually fight instead of 2 or 3 years down the road when they're washed up. So for all the good that he's done for UFC and combat sport fans, he has to separate his personal feelings from his business side. And it sounds like this was almost like on a petty level.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, the way you describe it. And if that's the case, then all the praise that we gave him, we also have to be critical of him, because, hey, this man wants, if this opportunity presents itself, then he needs to allow these fighters to do their thing, instead of trying to control the entire situation. And again, we want a central figure in UFC. Obviously has one, and we want one in boxing. But then this is the ugly side of it when there's no opportunity for movement, and you have to face or have the scorn of be scorned by Dana White and his boys. So
Yeah, I mean, y'all know we speak very intelligently on this show. We're very well informed. This right here just goes back to every other issue that we have between owner and athlete whenever the ownership does not have full control or cooperation of the athlete. I won't go as far as to say the slave mentality to the master, but in this case, you have someone who wants to have all the control. They want to have all the say. How dare this athlete try to tell me how to run my business? How dare this athlete try to call me out? Well, we know how Dana gets. He gets petty when people call him out. We've seen that throughout the years of UFC. Pick a fighter, major fighter that's reached the top of the rung, and they want a better deal. And this is the type of attitude that Dana pushes forth. We can certainly separate giving him kudos for being the businessman he's been during the COVID pandemic, but then look at it from the standpoint of a man that if he doesn't have complete control of his employee or his athlete, then now he wants to act a fool. Then when you throw in the fact that there's some talk about boxing and then some camaraderie with someone that he can't stand, then you throw that piece into it as well. For me, if you want to be the flagship sport, you want to show that you do things differently, these are the WWE backdoor boxing things that you can't do, because now you're the face of your sport, and now you're showing that you're actually not that much better than the other people that run the sport. You just did it in a different way that made you more money and put more butts into the seats. So for this particular issue here, I mean, it's not too late for him to fix it. I really wish that, he would address it in a way where everybody can win and get it without it becoming messy. But now that it's going down this road, who knows what it might end up being. But yeah, he's wrong in this situation. It's very petty. It's terrible that something like that overshadows a great fight and a great victory because of his behavior in this particular situation.
Well said. Well said. And now there's a special clause in all the UFC contracts called the champion clause. So this was supposed to be Ngannou's last fight on his UFC contract. But because he won and he's still a champion, that locks you in for either 2 more fights or at least a year, whichever comes first.
See, that's that boxing stuff
I
that
was about to say that's bogus.
Yeah,
That's
right.
bogus.
Right.
That's that Bob Arum, Don King stuff.
So we will see. Ngannou said he tore his MCL in training and still fought. So I can see him saying he got to get surgery and got to get his knee repaired and try to wait out the clock unless they pay him what he wants. So
right.
How
That's
convenient.
smart. That's smart.
Hey,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to game the system and do what you got to do.
Tick tock.
Yeah. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and talk about what excited everybody around the world.
Oh, yes.
That bread, that man, that bread.
Crazy.
But didn't I say last week was trash? Remember I said
Yeah,
that,
you
Absolutely.
that wild card we gotta eliminate it. This weekend proved that last weekend is for naught. It's a waste of time. So that's just my little.
Yeah.
But teams need last week so they can hang their little division winner banner. Like if you talk to the Cowboys fans, they still proud they get to hang a
Well, we
banner,
won the
even
NFC
though they got
East.
embarrassed at home, right?
Before we get into the games, a couple of major stories. The New York Giants hired former Bills assistant GM Joe Schoen as a new GM Friday. Rumors are that Bills offensive coordinator Brian Dable, a former Alabama assistant, is a leading candidate to join him in New York as the new head coach, and possibly also bring Bill's QB coach along with them to be the new offensive coordinator. So if that happens, not only does the Giants get some good people, that's going to have a direct effect on the Bills, because Dayball's the man who basically had helped Josh Allen get to this next level. So,
Big Reg, I mean, I know we just touching on it, but I'm getting angry all over again because we know what's happening out in Denver right now. There's not a black face being considered for the head coach and the front office jobs out there. Now we got this stuff happening in New York, and it's like we keep allowing this cycle to just repeat itself. And then so many pundits out there who have a hotter mic than we have, nobody is really saying anything about this stuff.
Because they want to keep that hot mic like we don't have it. So,
well, there is one person.
There is one who be talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith does talk about
it. I gotta give him his props on that.
Right.
That is the one issue he is steadfast on. But
and I actually was going to save that part for what you mentioned. Because for the post takes,
but that just got me hot under the collar.
I mean, because you've never heard of a day ball, like even them reaching out to. I mean, how long has Louis Riddick been waiting for a GM job?
Long time.
I mean,
long time.
Yeah, and supposedly Chicago is narrowing in final negotiations to hire their new GM, which is
It's the bum from is it Green Bay?
No, not Green Bay.
He was interviewing for that Giants job before they gave it.
He's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Head of player personnel.
I think Poles is his last name. P-O-L-E-S.
Lord have mercy.
There looks like there may be one minority GM. Supposedly, the Minnesota Vikings top choice was the guy that looks like he's going to get the Chicago job, and another gentleman, don't have his name right off, but I believe he's black. I'm not sure which nationality. His last name is Mensah, I believe it is. So we will see.
I think Pittsburgh is going to end up with one.
We keep receipts.
So.
We keep receipts.
Yeah.
In the surprise of the day, head coach Sean Payton stepped down as the coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Going through in New Orleans,
But what you think he's gonna get in Dallas?
I don't think he's going to Dallas.
Yeah,
at least not right away. He just got married. This is either his second or third marriage, so I think he's going to enjoy some married time, get a plush $5 to $7 million job on TV, and then after a year and after he's bored, then he'll decide where he's going to go.
As much as Jerry Jones is in love with this dude, you don't think he gonna try to back up that yacht filled with money to try to get him to come right away? Because right now he can't stand his current head coach.
I was gonna say, but weren't they the other day just like getting behind McCarthy, saying that, we're going, I'm absolutely sure McCarthy's going to be our head
If he
coach.
can't get his love affair to come to Dallas, then he'll stick with that dude. But I'm telling you, he gonna try.
Big Reg, I can't agree though with you said. It was I don't think it was a shock, because if you look at these head coaches, right, and there are exceptions. There's exceptions, but when you start talking about longest tenured coaches, you figure a lot of times these long tenured coaches, I'm talking about, currently it's Belichick, Tomlin, because we took Peyton out. Well, Peyton, you was the number 2 tenured coach, so you say Belichick, Peyton, Tomlin, Harbaugh, Carroll. But these guys are attached to quarterbacks. So Drew Brees leaves, and this, he had a couple life-changing events. You're still dealing with the pandemic, because you really are. Right. It's New Orleans, so that's an interesting city, to say the least. Again, life-changing events. You lose your quarterback. I'm telling you, it's just not. I don't think it was a coincidence that he's like, well, my man's not here. I'm kind of looking regular right now. Let me step back
Time to bounce, right?
Let me step back for a minute. And then, because absence makes the heart grow fonder. So he could step aside. New Orleans will go into tank. Sorry, Professor. They'll go.
I'm officially out now.
Oh, okay.
You out?
I didn't know it was that easy.
No. You knew. Yeah, I knew that Drew Brees was my man since he was a Boilermaker. So when he retired, I was in a wait and see mode. Now I like Jameis. Now y'all see what I put out there. Jameis to Washington need to be in full effect now. But now that Peyton is gone, and if he end up being a Cowboy, I'm done. I'm done with New Orleans.
Well, all I'm saying is I think that I wouldn't be surprised if I think Mike has a different type of pressure now because he's the flagship. He's the flagship coach right now. Black coach. Right. There are no others. So I think that his situation is a lot different but I do think that it might be 15 years. That's a good run.
That's true.
That's a long time.
Won a Super Bowl in the process.
And look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid, talk what you want, say what you want about Donovan and maybe the last 2 years of Vic. But once his quarterbacks, was exhausted, he was like, and Philly it was time to go. Mutually agreed, I believe. He moved on, specifically found his quarterback, and now he's right back being great again. Actually, he's never been this great in his whole life. So I just think that it's not a coincidence.
Speaking of old Andy Reid, since you brought up his name, he is the first coach ever to take two different teams to 4 straight conference championship games.
Big Andy.
He did it with the Eagles,
which was a miracle,
in the early 2000s, and now he's doing it again with Kansas City. And in Kansas City, not only did they make the 4 championship games, all 4 were at home.
At home, like dude.
Yeah, and that wasn't no miracle. He had some offensive juggernaut teams with McNabb and Westbrook and all them cats.
But he had an average quarterback though.
Donovan was playing higher than average when he played for Philly. Now you going to Washington.
We ain't gonna go down that tangent. We ain't gonna go down that tangent. We're gonna leave that alone.
I'll leave it alone.
Speaking of quarterbacks, both Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers hinted after their losses about retirement. But what really caught my attention was Tom Brady then went and after saying he hadn't thought about it at the post-game conference, his next day on his podcast that he has, he went into detail that it wasn't his decision, it was his family's decision, and that his wife hates seeing him get hit now and has concerns.
Yeah, so he got his mouth bloodied. Von Miller popped him.
I think Brady's done. Yeah, I think Brady's done, fellas. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's playing an angle, but I think Brady's done. What's your thoughts?
Giselle was like, bring your butt now. Your time is up, partner. Come on.
I don't think he's done. I think
be a husband and a father.
I don't think he's done. I think he's like you either Todd Bowles or me.
You think that's a power play, huh?
And if they get rid of Todd Bowles for him, they some new kind of stupid over there.
New fools, yeah.
Because he's not winning another Super Bowl. That's clear. Let's just get that out. There are better teams for NFC supremacy that will beat the Bucks. They might be there in the dance, but they're done. They got an aging Gronk who probably is ready to retire as soon as Brady says the word. No AB. Who knows how Godwin is going to come back after his injury. And Mike Evans is still pretty decent, but they getting long in the tooth. If they don't show up their cornerbacks, they got great linebackers in the line, but their secondary is some trash. They don't do anything there. They in trouble.
But Todd Bowles didn't help when he chose to blitz the cornerback and leave a safety alone on the best wide receiver in the NFL. How that's not corner. That's
freaking cup.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about that game. I mean, first and foremost, the Rams should have blown Tampa Bay out in that game.
Agreed. They should have never let them back in the game.
Too many fumbles, man.
Tampa Bay was missing their starting center and their right tackle. And we talked about it the week before that offensive line was going to be a problem. And as you said, Von Miller and them boys was hitting Tom Brady, and Tom Brady did not like that at all.
No.
So, I mean, freaking the
he
Rams
got that personal foul penalty.
I was about to say, that's the first time
Hockley was like, who you talking to?
Yeah, he cussed out a referee during the game. Come on.
Yeah, don't do Hockley like that.
That was Tom's fault for bragging for so long, talking about, basically he could do whatever he wants, and the refs pretty much
but he's been getting away with it.
Yeah,
getting away with it.
Not that night.
So the Rams score up 23 at halftime, 27-3 in the third quarter, and allow Tampa Bay to score 24 unanswered points to tie this game up, mainly because of 4 fumbles.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was a crazy game.
Well, at least Stafford got the monkey off his back of not being able to win playoff games.
Yeah, Stafford played extremely well, and people had to eat crow because they didn't think that he would. Played extremely well.
But I just think they look. I guess they did have. I think Whitworth was the only player that wasn't able to go for the Rams. And again, I think that had the injury situation been a little different, we probably would have saw a different outcome. And I know Tampa was very fortunate because Brady was getting tagged in the first. They were saying, like, I was looking at the game and it was like, okay, well, Brady's having a bad. He's not having a bad game. He's getting hit.
Right.
It's a difference.
Yeah. So, the thing that I didn't like about the game, and to me, this is what led to the fumbles, is that Sony Michel was your bell cow. I know Akers was back, but I always tell y'all guys, the guy that comes back his first game, don't think he's 100% just because they tell you he coming off injury and he's healthy. He fumbled twice, right? And Sony Michel hardly got any run, and I thought that was a big mistake in that game. I thought that at least it should have been more 50-50 with him being able to carry that rock and being able to do things. They were bringing him in just on third down, and I thought that was disrespectful. And then Sean McVay changed his play calling in the second half. So that made me mad because it's like you got a coach. How your coach going to be like, oh, we got this? Didn't you see what happened to Shanahan in the Super Bowl against Atlanta? You cannot take your foot off of Tom Brady's neck. You can't do it.
Never.
But as Ed said earlier, how in the heck you let Cooper Kupp burn you for 9 catches and 183 yards?
It's Cooper Kupp. He's been doing it all year, Big Ray.
I understand, but if you're gonna get beat, he can't be the one to beat you.
Their secondary some trash.
I understand. Not only did he beat you, but he was the man that caught the 2 passes that allowed them to drive the length of the field to set up the game-winning field goal. Come on, man.
Hey, all I can tell you, could you stop Jerry Rice? No. I don't care who you put on him. Could you stop Michael Irvin? No. In those ball and game time situations, the best wide receivers make stuff happen, and he made it happen.
But see, I just gotta say, but these are the problems that I have. So we had supreme games from Saturday to Sunday, but as a sports junkie, as a football junkie, I'm looking at the game. So as great as they are, they were also, to me, I saw flaws everywhere as far as coaching decisions. Some of them, some of them got away. Some of them got away with these bad decisions. Some of them did not. So. It was difficult. It was difficult for me to actually enjoy the games because I was looking at it. I was probably being too critical, and I should have just watched the game. But I can't watch. I just can't watch football games.
Yeah, we can't watch it like that, Ed. We just have a different level, man.
Yeah. Speaking of coaching malpractice, what happened in the Cincinnati Bengals and Titans game?
Oh, Lord.
I mean, you talk about coaching. Yeah.
Going back to Prof's point about Derrick Henry came back, but Deontay Foreman was
Thank you. Case in point. Case in point.
No, and I love Vrabel. I think Vrabel, I've said it on the show, I think Vrabel is a great I think he's a great head coach. But he made a critical error after the first Tannehill interception. He should have walked over to his offensive coordinator and said, if you let him throw one more football,
I agree with you.
Football,
I agree with you.
You can't even, don't even, I'm sending you home right now. Tannehill, yes, he lost the game, but you know he's incapable of winning a game.
Dude,
so
that
I don't
was the
know why
most
you put the
maddening
game in his hand. And then to your point, Professor, why would you run Derrick Henry? Because you remember, when I came in a little, I was like, well, is Derrick running? Well, I seen Derrick Henry. I've been watching Derrick Henry since he was a freshman at Alabama. And I've never seen him get tackled by a cornerback, ever.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And I was like, what? Why is he? Clearly he wasn't healthy. But again, these are the administrative decisions that these coaches make that cost teams. Many of these players have bonuses, money tied into victories, cost these players games and checks. So,
right. Yeah, and even when he was shoestring tackled by the corners, when they stuck to the run, it was working. I did not understand why they inexplicably. Well, Henry had some decent runs in there too. I just thought they shouldn't have ran him so much, but the run was working. And then it's like you could have set up the play action, but when they set up the play action, he had AJ Brown wide open for a touchdown and overthrew him. Like that was another big difference in the game. So yeah, he should have jacked the offensive coordinator up because I just couldn't understand why they kept going so far away from the run and trying to force the ball down the field.
And then when it was third and half a yard,
you do a Phelps.
They do a QB run, option run. Instead of giving it to Henry, he loses a half a yard. Then you want to give it to Henry on fourth down when everybody know who gets.
They knew it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
They had 10 in the box.
That's what I'm saying.
That was unavailable.
But we got to give props on the other side.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow, I've been talking about him for the last 2 weeks. Joe Burrow is a bad dude. That man got beat up in that game. Sacked 9 times.
9 times, yeah.
Hit almost 20 times during that game. Kept getting up. You never saw him complaining, and he kept slinging it. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he kept moving his team in position so that their rookie kicker, who they call Money Matt, was able to kick 4 field goals, including the game winner. And a rookie kicker told the backup QB before he went on the field to kick that last field goal, he did a practice kick, looked at his foot, he said, yeah, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship game.
He sure did.
Love it. I love it. That's one thing I want to say about Burrow. He's like long gone are the days when we used to clown Cincinnati for not being able to win a playoff game in the Marvin Lewis era. This man has come in, brought a new identity. Like he's especially like, I mean, I'm not surprised. You know, I knew we were going to get hit. We were supposed to be hit.
Hold on. I will give Burrow credit. He took a beating. And again, that's another reason why Tannehill he has to go. You can't sack a quarterback 9 times and lose.
You rarely. They showed the statistic. Yep, you don't win.
Excusable. But to say the lovable Bengals, they couldn't do it. You know, I hate that narrative since when they say, well, Marvin Lewis couldn't win. You know, he took them and one and done, or even if he got to the playoffs, because he had Andy Dalton and Burrow is light years. Like, it's not even.
But you know, the was making that point, Mr. Smith. Oh, always clowning the Bengals and Marvin Lewis for not being able to win a playoff game, saying he should have been fired.
Yeah, but you know why Marvin couldn't win a playoff game? He couldn't control his locker room, man.
The organization was cheap.
He just had too many issues. You had the domestic violence stuff, the young man that got killed falling off the back of the truck. You brought in Pac-Man Jones, Vontaze Burfict. I mean, cats like that. He just had character issues all over that team. But back to this game, we can't give Burrow props without mentioning Mixon, without mentioning Chase. and that without mentioning Higgins, because they balled out, because players got to play, and they stepped up. They made the catches, they made the runs. And then I remember telling you guys back in preseason when they came and they played Washington, and I just made a specific comment just about their defense. I was like, Cincinnati's defense is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't really play any of their starters on the offensive side. But I was like, if this defense plays like this during the year, they're going to make some noise. And here we are.
Further proving my point that, like, I mean, shoot, and somebody had mentioned this in the telecast, like, you know that Burrow's going to go to Chase, and there still ain't nothing you can do about it. Like,
yeah, but then he switched it up and hit Higgins, right?
Yeah.
Just like, boom, take that. Yeah.
And if they fix that offensive line, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to say they have a great defense, because this is not really a true representation of a football team. When they beat Kansas City again, because they've already beat Kansas City once.
Right. In Cincinnati.
When they beat, but still they beat them. So if they beat Kansas City again, then but I actually want Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl now, but I have selfish reasons for that.
oh God.
All right, let's talk about the dud on Saturday. The Green Bay Packers win the toss, get the opening kickoff, go straight down the field on the 49ers and score in like 3.5, 4 minutes. I'm like, oh, this might be a blowout.
The last score you saw.
They score again to the fourth quarter, and then they scored a field goal.
Yeah. And Jimmy G tried to give him the game, too.
I mean, talking about coaching game plans, I mean, Shanahan kind of learned from his mistakes.
I do not know how y'all got rid of Shanahan.
Yeah. D'Amico Ryan, so the defense coordinator for the 49ers, to make the adjustment after that first drive when they just basically got blitzed down the field and to shut them out. And then he started hitting your boy A-Rod. And when Rodgers gets hit, he don't like it.
Nope.
He's starting to look to me a little bit like Eli Manning started to look before his last like 2 or 3 years where he wouldn't be touched anymore. You touch Rodgers and he like, oh yeah, we done with this. But how did the Packers allow the 49ers to come into Green Bay, beat them in the snow?
Defense.
We've seen it before.
13-10.
We've seen it before. The Giants, although that's their cold weather team, but still, Eli, the quarterback you talk about, went to Green Bay and came out of victorious on their way to the Super Bowl. And I believe that's the year they beat the undefeated
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen this before, but Aaron Rodgers, look, I always say this. I know I'm being a homer. If Big Ben wouldn't have threw a pick six, we lost by 5 that Super Bowl.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers would have never had a Super Bowl.
Right.
But again, that's the game. But Aaron Rodgers, for all the accolades he get, multi MVPs, TV, kind of reminds me of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, hey, let's call it what it is. Peyton Manning had that one lone ring, and then it was nothing until he got Von Miller. Until he moved on and handed off the ball pretty much. So in the Super Bowl, not during the regular season.
Yeah. It just is a glaring stain on A-Rod's legacy, in my opinion, because you had all that drama going on, at the beginning of the season. It's all about, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Oh, he's having a spectacular season. Oh man, another MVP. And then to come here where all the odds were in your favor, and you just like you wet the bed. I think that's going.
I mean, they only scored 10 points. He's going to probably be the MVP of the league for back-to-back seasons. If it's not going to be him, it's going to be Tom Brady, and both of them got sent home.
Yeah, I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's that type of cat. I think he put more stock into being petty, off the field, his struggles with the ownership and everything. And then when it came to being on the field, I think he orchestrates things where if he's not the center of attention, then it doesn't run the way that it should. many times that night they pointed out how if somebody dropped the ball, or somebody fumbled, he went away from him.
He would throw the ball to him.
Right. And I get it that that's your boy. You know, Adams is your boy and everything, but somebody should have knocked him upside his head and said, this is a playoff game. You don't lose this like a regular season game and then you come back next week. You got to really use your other players. That's what I like about what Brady did in his comeback, what you saw with Joe Burrow. I mean, they got to spread the ball around. Look, this is time for you to make a name for yourself. The boy that scored 4 touchdowns and broke Jerry Rice's record, I mean, he was the one that was open. You can't worry about Stephon Diggs. You got to hit the open man. They got to make the plays. In this game, Rodgers kept forcing the ball to Adams. And that's partly why they lost this game, because he got in his head, oh, you dropping stuff, oh, you fumbling, I'm going to go to my boy. And that's to their detriment. And his coach let him do it. His arrogance is the reason why he only has 1 Super Bowl ring.
There you go. And what happened to Cobb? Where was Cobb in the game?
I think he was only targeted once or twice. That's the
dude that you fought so hard for to bring on the team.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know,
to illustrate that point real quick, Ed, now I'll let you go. He had 20 completions. 9 of them went to Devontae Adams, and 9 of them went to running back Aaron Jones. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's time that we start realizing and questioning the division that affords him to get the first.
Exactly.
You played Chicago twice.
Yes.
You played Detroit twice. And you played Minnesota twice. And let's be honest.
Yeah. Like the NFC East.
That should be 6 wins.
Right.
That's a dub right there.
You know, so let's, they're home. So
San Francisco got the benefit of being in the best division in football. They embarrassed 2 teams that won these cupcake divisions.
And they also, hats off to the 49ers special teams coaching. They saw the flaw in Green Bay, which allowed them to block a field goal and then block a punt in the same game and scoop the punt up and score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Shout out to the 49ers. Yeah.
One last question, fellas, that I want to pose to y'all. Do you think he stays or does he look for greener pastures?
I think he gone.
He gonna try to manipulate the situation, and if he doesn't like what they're saying, then he gonna try to force his way out. But we will see.
Now, you want him on your Steelers, Ed?
No, we already got problems. We might as well go young. We already got problems.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game of the weekend. Yes. And those other 3 games, all games came down to last second field goals to win the game with less than 3 seconds on the clock. And they weren't the best game of the weekend, because the best game of the weekend was Sunday night, Chiefs Bills. Overtime. Oh my God. I'm gonna just let y'all go from there. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about that.
I mean, you can't say anything bad about either team. I mean, Josh Allen, that boy good. Like,
he balled.
That boy good.
He balled.
Yes.
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Yo, I think we found our new Brady Manning rivalries. Definitely Allen and Mahomes now.
But his coaching staff let him down. Majorly, I can name at least 3, maybe 4 critical points in that game that his coaching staff let him down. But again, you playing Mahomes, and I said this. Remember, we were talking about early in the season when Mahomes and the KC looked kind of off, and we were like, and I was like, I think they're bored because they know when and how they
turn it
switch.
on.
They got the on switch.
Because when they hit that on switch, cheetah.
Yeah.
He a cheat code. When he caught that pass across the middle and hit that sideline, he gave a guy.
I'm surprised he didn't get a taunting call.
He should have got a taunting call for that.
Yes.
But he gave a DB that was 5 yards in front of him and had the angle, the peace sign, and kept it moving. That's crazy.
Sure did. And when it mattered, Kelsey is that dude.
Yes,
because we just talked about it. Two throws to Cooper Kupp at the end of the game. Kelsey caught that big joke, got him in field goal range. I'm like,
game-winning touchdown.
But
he's the
Kelsey
truth.
Abused you all the way. This is in overtime. Kelsey abused the entire defense. By the way, I'm going to quit. Let's stop doing this number one defense and stats crap. Because if that was the number one defense, if the Bills had the number one defense, there's something categorically wrong with that. There is no way that was the number one. Did Mahomes get hit? I don't think he got hit one time. If he did, I missed it.
Man.
Not much. They harassed him, but not
I
much.
swear, it was like schoolyard football, man. My goodness. Like the way Mahomes was throwing passes, it's like he was just having fun the whole time. Never got scared, never got worried. It was just like, okay.
But what impressed me the most about the game, even though Josh was let down by his coaching staff, particularly his defensive staff, what impressed me about Josh Allen, and I guess the entire offensive unit of the Buffalo Bills, is I don't know if people understand how much pressure it is. That stadium is probably the loudest stadium.
Loud, yeah.
Arrowhead, yeah.
And it's not even a dome. It's probably the loudest.
Yeah.
And to
It
play
goes back and forth. I think Seattle and them go back and forth with who's the loudest.
But your prime time, the nation's watching. The fans are going crazy, and and he's dropping dimes, and the players are actually making plays because you always remember, it's not only the quarterback. Everyone has to be in two. You need your offensive line, you need your running backs to block.
And Gabriel Davis, the young wide receiver, put on the show. 8 catches, 201 yards, 4 TDs, playoff record. Yeah, they were balling. Both of them was going back and forth. When the Bills scored the last time in the fourth quarter with 13 seconds left,
I thought it was over.
And Allen was hugging Gabriel. He was like, "Yeah, we did it. We going to the."
Yeah, Andy Reid's face was priceless. He was stunned.
Mahomes was like, "Hold my beer."
Why don't you swivel it and force them to field the ball?
Right.
Again,
that's
a
what they
poor
should
coaching
have.
decision.
Yeah,
a poor coaching decision. But they didn't think Mahomes was able to do what he did. And he went bang bang.
But you heard what Andy Reid told him, right? He was like, "When things get grim, go be the Grim Reaper." That's what he did.
No, with it seemed like less effort. He was just like, "Okay, Travis, I got you."
Yeah. I couldn't believe it because I was like, game over. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Great game. So
it speaks to a bigger issue, though, that everybody's been bringing up, like with the overtime rules. Like, do you think it should mimic college where, like, okay,
no. But both
college
people should have a chance to get the ball.
No.
Yeah, the other team should have a chance to get the ball.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
should have a chance to get the ball, right?
Well, I mean, basically, so here's the argument. They're saying you're deciding the game with a flip of a coin. But you're not deciding the game with a flip of a coin. If your defense comes to play, then
they were spent. Both defenses were spent.
They were winded. Yeah.
But that's when you have to rise up.
Well, I guess they didn't rise.
You got
because KC went right down.
Yeah. Right. I sent y'all a message. I said I felt bad because the Bills didn't get it in the offense. Then I thought about it. You knew what the terms of the game was. Yes. If you know that overtime is a flip of the coin and whoever wins that coin toss is more than likely going to win that game, then you can't let that get in overtime. They had a chance to stop them in 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they had a chance to stop in overtime. So, sorry. Mm-hmm. And you don't want teams playing an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then they got to play another game next week in the championship game. Yeah. So let's talk about these championship games before we get out of here. First game is Sunday, Bengals Chiefs, 3:00 p.m. on CBS. Who you got?
I want the Bengals to win, but I think the Chiefs will.
Chiefs.
Yeah. My heart is saying Cincinnati, but my head is saying Chiefs.
If the Chiefs DBs don't play better than what they played against the Bills, Joe Burrow's going to light them up for 500 yards. And this game can go either way. They need to get Honey Badger back, who left the game early in the first quarter.
That was the big difference. Yeah.
So if they can get him back, I think the Chiefs win. If he doesn't play, the Bengals got a shot. All right, we got the 49ers against the Rams in the nightcap. Who you got? I see you with the Chiefs, sis.
I want a replay of like last year when Tampa Bay played the Super Bowl at home. I want the Rams to play the Super Bowl at home, so I'm going with Rams.
Well, I've been hollering Stafford and defending him all year, so I got to go LA.
I'm going with the 49ers. The Rams haven't beat them this year, so why would
they have, but it's time. Just like the Saints
Rams haven't
didn't beat
them
Brady,
for the last
right?
6 times.
Yeah. And I think it's the teacher and the pupil. I think Shanahan is.
But hold on, that was the same argument between the Bucks and the Saints. They could not beat them in the regular season, but when it mattered, the Bucks shine. I think that same situation is going to happen here.
But the Bucks,
everybody's going to bring that.
We still talking about Jimmy G though. He tried to get a game to Dallas. He tried to get a game away last week. This week, I think he's gonna be successful.
I mean, if
Jimmy G to Washington, no Jimmy G in Washington.
It's over for Jimmy G.
If it wasn't for that dude down in Tennessee, I would be killing Jimmy G. But I can't even say anything about him.
And if Trent Williams, who went out of that game with a sprained ankle, if he doesn't play, and they're saying it's if he plays. If he doesn't play and they got to block that Rams front four,
we know all about that.
We know all about Trent and his injuries.
Mr. Glass.
Yeah. Jimmy G is going to give him a couple.
Guaranteed.
I think the Rams are going to host the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
real
fellas.
Quick. I'm sorry. I was going to say,
ahead.
Somewhere in America, Baker Mayfield's probably sitting in a dark room, it's like, dang, I couldn't make it work. But OBJ's living his best life right now.
OBJ balling,
doing
him
another
and the quarterback
commercial,
good. Yeah, yeah. Baker can't be too mad. He gonna make $19 million next year. He'd have made over $25 million plus. We ain't even talking about his endorsement money, so he all right. He gonna be.
I love Baker Mayfield. He's great. I'm glad Cleveland drafted him.
Yeah, they got that Steeler love coming out. All right, fellas, let's get out of here so we can let the professor get on and enjoy his birthday evening.
Yes.
It is time for our final post. Ed, why don't you start us off?
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Again, I just want everybody to stay healthy and be safe out there in the streets. Professor, again, happy birthday. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank the wife. We appreciate her and letting you jump on tonight. So always a treat. Couldn't have a Saint. Couldn't talk about Sean Payton without you. So anyway.
Absolutely. Since you up.
Real quick, just going back to our original take from earlier. You got like 6 candidates, right? 6 viable candidates right now that are more than qualified for some head coaching positions. I just want the NFL to do the right thing. Like, come on, man. We can't continue to go down this road and not, do that. So, and last but not least, again, happy birthday to you, bro, cuz 45 you. Special. Go
That's
ahead
right.
And do it up, man. Be blessed when I'm done, man.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. There are 9 head coaching positions open. How many of them going to be filled? We ain't even talking minorities this year. We going to get real. How many black coaches going to get hired in 9 positions? So
yeah, do the right thing, NFL. Do the right thing.
My final post is family. We talk about often, but we just want y'all to be safe out there. This pandemic is still here with us. I've had, unfortunately, some people that are close and dear to me have recently contracted the virus. Luckily, they're okay, but I've had some distant friends that I found out have family members that's been in the hospital. One just passed, so please be careful. And we're going to let the last final post be up to the birthday boy. Professor, you got the last post.
Thank you, and God bless everyone. It certainly does feel good to reach another milestone, another year. And my Billy D Colt 45 voice, you're just going to let my hand fall off? But anyway, just leaving that out there like that. Since, where did you go, Since? Okay, you still there.
Chrissy and Omar just came and I had to turn off the camera.
Okay, tell them I said hello. So thanks to the fellas. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks to my family. They really made this birthday a very and extremely special for me. for my closing thought or final post for tonight, I just want to remember, Regina King and her family in our prayers. She lost a young son, a great and shining star, Ian Alexander. That news came across, and it was just so heartbreaking because it just brings us back to those moments where we heard about Ennis Cosby being murdered. We heard about Scottie Pippen's son. And we just got to remember to just tell each other we love one another, because we don't know when and how, we'll leave away from here. It could be COVID. It could be some tragic circumstance. It could be natural causes. But the thing that I want to remind folks is that when you reach your next birthday, when you reach your next milestone, just thank God for it. But in the meantime, let's just continue to love on one another. So God bless you.
Amen. Appreciate that. All right. We'd like to thank you all for listening, tuning in. We appreciate the time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Me and the fellas, we love doing the show and love bringing our thoughts on sports to you. If you can't catch the live show, you can catch our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Positions on Sports Talk Show. Just look it up. You can find us. If you like podcasts, whatever podcast platform you like, again, put in Positions on Sports Talk Show. We eventually upload all of our shows there, so you can look at some back shows. Please send us your thoughts on how you think the show is, any improvements we can do. And if you like it, please like and subscribe. Subscription's free. We appreciate the support. And for all the family that chimed in today, my sister, my wife, we had Ed's mom chime in, his cousin, my man Marcus and all that, my brother Guy. We appreciate all y'all. Appreciate the love. We'll see y'all next week, 7 p.m. Tuesday. Peace.
Amen. We
Next
miss you,
show.
J3, J Wills.
J3.
See y'all. Peace.